All right. Serious talk.
Welcome to the Ignite Fitness podcast.
No. Fuck your shit up. Okay, Carli, we've been friends for some years now. We're going to start this by taking it back a little bit. I want you to talk about what was the first thing that you remember when we met at Walter's boxing gym. It was so hot.
Yeah, I remember it was hot as hell. The first time I saw you, I think you had blue hair, which is nothing new. You always have blue hair. You were training, I was training with Walt. I don't even know how you ended up getting, like, how did that connection? You knew Walt?
Actually, everyone was weird about it because we were never a part of the same gym. And I remember being invited. I think you literally DM'd me.
I did?
Yes, you told me when you went.
I gotta pull up that DM.
We gotta pull that up. And I remember that, and I showed up, and what do you remember? Because it's gonna...
I remember the first day I ever seen you, you were like, girl, you need to come work with me. And then you were telling me, like, you just seemed so educated. You were telling me why I need to work with you. And I was like, yeah, sounds about right. But then I ended up not coming work with you for another 2 years after I met you. But that's what I remember from the first day I met you was you seemed so smart. You seemed so educated. You seemed like you knew how to fix me. And that's pretty much what you were trying to get me to go work with you.
Didn't I offer it to you for free, though?
Probably.
I did, in fact, say, I will train you for free.
Yeah. How did you perceive that day?
I remember thinking, oh my goodness, she's so scary. Like, in the best way. Like, you're strong. I was like, I wish she could, like, portray she's as confident as, like, I would be if I looked like I could fight like that. I've been training for, I don't know, how many years, and she looks like she's been here for way longer than I have. And I remember thinking, dude, if we could get her to transfer power, get her to move her hips a little bit better, and just make her feel confident, she'll be somewhere, wherever she wants to go, and that's for her to define. But that's what I remember. And then so I was like, hey, you're great. Let me train you for free. And you were like, yeah, maybe. I'm just, trying to figure things out. And I was like, one day she'll figure it out. And
little did I know. Yeah.
Yeah, and now you're a monster. So, but I mean, we knew you're different. I mean, Walter knew, I knew, Aaron knew, all your team knew. I mean, you just work so hard, it's impossible not to see. But when did you believe you were different?
Probably wasn't until my third amateur fight. A lot of people probably know that fight. I fought Carli Lopez in Lake Charles for Gulf Coast MMA. It was my first amateur title fight. And that girl just had a lot of hype behind her. She was a wrestler, a really good wrestler. And that fight was 5 rounds. It was awesome, and it was so fun. And in that fight, I just felt like this is what I was supposed to be doing my whole life. Like, everything in my life led up to that moment, to me being a fighter. I just felt it in that fight, and I just felt so comfortable. I felt so smooth and so flowy, and I just felt that everything I've been through led me to be here. And even now, I feel like that, everything I've been through my whole life led me to be where I am and set me up for who I am as a person.
All right, well, flashback to who you were, like little you, or even like transitioning into MMA, you think about your mentality, your physicality, and like your emotional well-being. What do you think she would say if she saw you now?
Dude, I mean, I think she would be so inspired. I think she would think I'm a hero compared to who I was. I was a freaking disaster. I was a basket case. Didn't believe in myself. I thought that I wasn't going to be anything. I thought I was going to work at I'm sure I thought I was going to work at McDonald's or whatever it was. I didn't believe in myself. I just thought I was going to be some bitch from New Iberia, that didn't accomplish anything. And, I just know that she would be inspired, and she'd be so proud of who I am now and who we are. And just seeing and knowing what it took to come out of that mental turmoil I put myself through, and that people put me through, that I'm on the other side of it. And, it's exciting knowing how much more room for growth I have, because, it's night and day difference, and I can still, it's going to be night and day difference 3 years from now also.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, yeah, you made a tremendous change just in the past, like, year, 2 years, 3 years. I can't even imagine the changes you had made before we had even became friends, because I know some of your stories, so it was wild. But did you have someone like yourself growing up? Like, as a kid, as a young girl, can you ever remember someone being like, I want to be like that person? They push hard. They embody who you are now.
Yeah, I definitely have, like, especially like a female role models, it's kind of like, sounds dumb, obviously my mom and, my big sister, because, we all came from, my mom was a single mom of 7, and when my mom and my dad got divorced, she went back to school with 7 kids, 7 young kids. She went back to school, and for us, and if it wasn't for her, I don't even know where we'd all be. She was the reason we had food on our table, just like most moms. A lot of moms do what they have to do, but, I saw, there were days she didn't want to do it, and she showed up, and that's what I do now. But there's days I don't want to do it, and I show up. Same thing for my big sister. When my mom was in school, my big sister was raising us, and she had a lot of excuses not to show up for us because she's not our mom, but she did. So there's just so many things that I've just seen women in my life not show up when they don't have to, or show up when they don't want to, and it made a huge difference in my life.
Yeah, I mean, we see it. So, I mean, congratulations to those women for helping you become this person.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're super proud, because I'm proud, and I've only been in this thing for like 4 years. So, okay. So, speaking on that, I've seen you on days where you just didn't want to, where you were in pain from your injuries in the past, where things were heavy, personally, emotionally, physically, and you kept showing up. So, I mean, that's due to your mom and your sister just showing up again and again and again. That's crazy.
Yeah, but also it's like being around people, like you, to teach me, and my coaches and stuff, and I just know that I don't have another option. If I want to be who I say I want to be, I'm going to show up. Like, it's like, yes, we have an option to show up or not, but in my mind, I don't have an option. I don't have an option to give up. I don't have an option to not show up. Obviously you've taught me to be smart. It's like, if I'm injured, there's certain situations where it's like, okay, don't show up. You need a rest, or you need to do this, but there is different ways to show up. If I'm injured, I can show up a different way. If I'm injured, resting might be how I'm showing up that day. So
yeah, that was really the next question. What's the biggest shift you've had in your mindset since we started working together? Something me and Drake had worked on this last camp was, are you prepared and rested enough to do the work that you're demanding of your body? And you become queen of that. Right. You have embodied it, which was hard because you only know how to show up when you don't want to, when you're in pain. And your mom and your sister, I'm sure, are ear to ear right now if they listen to this, because you are very impressive. You don't let anything stop you. But when you stepped into fight week this past one, how do you feel all of our time together, your experience with your mom and your sister, how did you carry that on into your fight, into the cage? Because this fight was like, it was great. So were the past ones, but you just seemed different. Like your whole entire attitude. People at our watch party were like, oh my God, Carli looks like she's been to walk through her. But how did that feel for you? And like,
I've always, past fights, I would go into my fight, just because it's what you do. You just go, you go through fight week, you go through fight camp, you go into your fight. This fight camp, I brought in true confidence and comfort. Like, I was comfortable in my skills. I was confident in my skills. I was confident in my mentality and comfortable with my mentality, as opposed to just going. Like, there's fighting is, you can't just go. You have to prepare and make sure everything's lined up, and not just physically. Fighters are like, I got to do this physically, but it's like all the mental work that we put in, that I put in, and that's I was able to go in it comfortable because of how confident I was, because I trusted in everything we did, getting me prepared for the fight.
And you keep saying that word "we." I only give you the stuff.
Right.
A lot of the guys and girls in the world of combat sports, they get mindset coaches and performance coaches that do sort of what we do together, but they just do that. They take the information, they don't do anything with it. You take it and continue to transform it into something that matches what you need. And that's the differentiator, in my opinion. But
I said we because you hold me accountable to do that, and you taught me how to do. Yeah. You taught me how to do it because this. I'm sure this is one of our questions, but I used to just write affirmations like, I am good,
I am kind,
I am dope. But you were like, what is this crap? Like, no, you need to write when you have, I would only write good things. When
I'm pretty sure I called you
write
at 9
down when you have bad days. Yeah. It's like, when I injured my back, you were like, write this down. I was like, why?
Wait, do you remember when you hurt your back and you got into the car? Do you remember when you were crying? I told you. I said,
write this down.
No, I did. But I said, Carli, if you can't get through this shit, you're not going to get through the rest of it. You can give the fuck up now. Pick your head up and then go get through this. And you were like, okay.
True. I remember that, yeah.
In the car. And I slammed the door and I said, you can do it. I'll see you later. And we talked every day after you got injured. But yeah, this shit ain't for the weak. And you make it look easy. You make it look easy.
Thank you. But yeah, we put on poker faces a lot. because that's what you have to do to get through it. And I'm always gonna put on a poker face. But fighters, we're not perfect. Like people in general, like we can make it seem like we're perfect all the time, but we're always fighting battles and always working internally. And I mean, I feel like the people that show it outwardly, they're not really working on it on the inside, right? They're just like throwing it up everywhere, Like I have moments of weakness, and I'll be like, for the most part, like I don't like to cry, I don't like to do all that. But we're really trying to.
I've seen you cry a good bit.
I know, but I try
in front of me.
I try to fight. Well, because I'm not gonna go on social media and stuff, and for the most part, be like, I'm really struggling with this. Like, if I'm struggling with something, I'll bring it to people that are helping me work with it. But I'm not. The world doesn't need to see it. That's something I need to work on in general. That's just like training. I post stuff because social media is big, but I don't need to post everything I'm doing. The work is done within, and the work is done with myself and my team.
And that can change one day. You may start trying to show other women that things are a little different, but that's not you right now, and that's okay. So keep that to yourself. Keep working, because it's working. You just next question is that you've earned 2 fight bonuses already, but like in my opinion it's 3, because that Contender Series fight was insane. And I mean, you didn't win, but they hardly ever give out both contenders a contract, and you guys broke a record, which is kind of crazy. And
that was fun.
Yeah, you were so worried about not being able to make it to the end and being not conditioned enough, because you were used to being out in the first round. You'd only had like that one fight with what's her name, Bandana Anna, crazy girl. That was the only one where you had really went the distance with the banger, and so you made it through smiling. How does it feel knowing that the world got to see what we've seen in you the whole time? We talked a little bit about it earlier, and your answer was pretty interesting.
I mean, yeah, it feels great that the world can see the work I put in, but also that's never was or never is the goal. Like, I'm not doing it for everyone else. Everything I do is, it kind of sounds selfish, but for me to prove to myself and to my younger self who I can be, or, that I can be something great. Because like I said earlier, my younger self was like, you're nothing. Like, you're not going to be anything. Just like, you're going to have a 9 to 5. And I just choose every day. I refuse to be who I thought I was going to be, So like I said, it's not for everyone else. It's for me, and it always will be. Hopefully, I'm going to keep it that way. Because that's where I really am going to grow, as long as I do it for myself.
I think that's what separates you. A lot of people get into the sport wanting to be seen, and wanting to be the hype reel, and wanting to be the things that people see all the time on their Instagram and be famous. But I know you've been doing it you like try to avoid people seeing you, and you just do it so you get better. And I think that's important for people to know. And then the next question was, what do you do when you start doubting yourself? But I mean, you said it time and time again, like, you're going to doubt yourself and still go through it, because that's who you are. So I don't think I talk about that one. We see it. So, but the next question was, through this last fight camp, what's one moment in the fight recently where you caught yourself thinking, holy shit, like, I've really changed?
Well, before the fight, like we said earlier, I just felt confident. So that was something that was automatically, I noticed, I picked up that was different, because I've had confidence in some fights, but this was just a different level, dude. And it was on the biggest stage you can be in, like, the UFC.
Yeah.
So for me to feel that comfortable where I was, it felt great. But when I head kicked her, when the kick landed, I just remember thinking, like, I'm back. Like, this feels great. Like, because I came off of 2 losses, and before that I was all knockouts in my pro career. So I had lost myself for a second there. Me and you, we did all kind of work mentally. And I'm saying, earlier you said, you keep saying we, but like I said, you taught me how to do this. So I want to give you that credit. I have other coaches that helped me too, but you were the one who's broken down for me mentally, and I'm forever grateful for that. And I know we have so much work to continue doing. But
I even go into your house and make you listen to me for an hour or 2.
Literally, you bust through my door, made me pull out my
I
my
did.
journal.
I made her pull out her journal and said, "Let me see that damn journal.
I was like,
show me what's written in it." And she's,
I write awkward stuff in my journal.
And so I mean, but it was wild. But I'm sure now the version that you have is like so full of experiences, because like we've worked on putting everything that you go through in there.
Yeah.
And that was wild. How did it feel having Drake's not a part of your team technically, but he was out there with you? How was it having someone because you hadn't never had that before, that wasn't on your team already? Yeah. Because I don't have any experience. I've only had one MMA fight. So I never put any thought to that. I was like, most of the time it's on your team.
Right.
How was having Drake instead of like a guy or like from Head Kicks?
Well, I still feel like Drake is one of my teammates, so it didn't really feel that different. Like,
It's cute.
we trained together 3 days a week.
Yeah, it's good.
In camp, when I was in camp, we trained together very often, and I don't know. Whenever teammates is not necessarily at the same gym, you know, it's like if y'all are willing to go through, like we go through stuff together, whether it's training, like we do strength and conditioning.
That's how we do stuff here. But like a lot of people in the
Yeah.
world don't do stuff like that.
Right.
So I feel like our culture is very different, and it's thanks to like Aaron and Tim and the guys in our community that built up Louisiana Jiu-Jitsu. Is that like Tim started the culture of train together, be better together, and grow together.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that's unique, which is why I asked. Because a lot of guys can't do that.
Right.
Because it's like you have to be on the same team, gotta have the same coach. And so I think it's cool that you have that mindset because that's how you're gonna grow.
Right. Well, I think it's cool, like you said, that this community has that mindset. You know, because I'm sure Drake considers me as a teammate to a certain extent too. So, you know, you're my teammate. You're also my coach and my friend. So, and I feel like that's why, you know, we make such a good team, and the people that you work with make such a good team, because you get to know people on more of a personal level, and it's not just like you see them twice a week, like, hey, we're gonna do squats today. No, it's like, how are you thinking? How do you feel? Like,
I'm in your practice watching you crumble. I'm like, why are you crumbling? We journaled about this last week.
Yeah, exactly. There's just so much more to it, and that's a lot of coaches around here too. You know, will try to be. It's not just so like they're not just doing it for a paycheck. A lot of coaches care around here. At least like the coaches in my corner. You know,
They do.
care.
We call each other. We text each other. We let each other know when we see you struggling. Not just you, all the guys, even ourselves. We say, I've had me and Walter call each other and say, I just like don't have it. Like talk to me. Like let it out. And so a lot of places don't have that. So I feel really grateful to be here.
Yeah.
And I know you do too. We talk about it often, actually.
Definitely.
So, what is the hardest part about training with me?
Well, when I first started working with you, it was especially being less mentally strong than I am now. It was the accountability. It's like every other minute you were like, "Are you doing this? Are you doing this?" And I was like, "No, I didn't do that. Shit!" Like, you know. But it's like so. But now it's the biggest advantage of working with you and knowing you is like you keep me accountable. Yeah. What about? Yeah, that's about all I got with that one.
No, that's okay. I said I was going to share this story. The funniest part is that we are friends. So I got invited to go to Dallas. And I'm going to tell the camera this because we talked about it. We go to Dallas. She invited me as a friend, not as a coach. And we're sleeping in the same room. We're riding all the way there together. It's just every minute. Carli is not a talker.
6-hour drive.
And I am talking. She knew this already, right? So we're talking. We go to early morning practice. We have our sparring day. And I mean, Carli has her feelings because she's a perfectionist, right? So I'm letting her feel it. I'm watching her, and I start like asking questions like, "Why are you being like this?" And I'm just analyzing like as if I'm her coach, and she just accepts it. She's just listening. She's taking on advice, and then without knowing at that point, the next time she traveled, I called. She had a great time, and I said, "Hey, I want you to write how it felt, and then I want you to think back to the last trip and why you felt the way that you did." And I want you to realize the difference and why you feel different about it. And then you went to Denver, and it was different. You had the most fun you've had, in my opinion. You came back with the most insight. And I think it's mostly because, like, I'm nosy as fuck. And so, and you just let me do it. And you were like, I know it's for the better. And you just let it happen. Most athletes would never let that happen. They would say, I brought you here to be my friend. Be quiet. But real friends keep each other accountable and say what they see. The worst friends are the ones that say nothing to you. Mm-hmm. And they know that you're doing the wrong thing. And they have a better option. So thank you for letting me do that for you because, I mean, I think it's going to make a tremendous difference. Like, you're killing the game.
And then on the way home, we talked less about, like, sports.
We did.
And we got to, like...
We did.
Built our friendship deeper. We talked about stuff that didn't have to do with throwing punches. And it was nice.
We did. Yeah, we don't get to do that often. That was...
Yeah, usually it's all business and it's never like...
I just forgot. I shared some of the stuff that I shared.
Dude...
Trauma dump. Damn. Okay. Well, our sessions aren't just reps and drills. Getting back to like the coaching part is what's the one thing that stuck with you the most? I know we talked about journaling a good bit, but when it comes to the mindset you have now, actually you said that earlier. It's that.
Right.
That you didn't have a mindset before. Is that I think how you worded it?
Yeah. I mean, like people can see on Instagram and social media, and if they come to the gym, we're lifting heavy weights or we're throwing balls around, moving stuff fast, doing all kind of different things. It looks cool. But yeah, what they don't see is the mental work that you try to incorporate into your athletes and the accountability, and that's just things that people don't do extra work inside of the gym. They don't reach out to their, not that I don't, that I don't see too much. They don't reach out and they're not teaching their athletes how to think or why they're thinking certain things or how to journal. So yeah, that's one of the biggest differences I feel like with Ignite that I've seen in the past.
Yeah, I would agree. A lot of times I talk about what we do and other coaches are like, oh wow, I didn't think about doing that. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's my friends. And so I feel like since I started my business by coaching my friends first, it brought like a different level out of me, because it wasn't just about providing value to a client that bought something from me. It's about making my friends something so much greater than me that at some point they leave me and they surpass me and they drag me with them. Because if I'm always the one having to push people, we're going to be limited, because we're all limited to some capacity. So I say it all the time. Serving you guys is self-serving, because I want you guys to drag me up with you. You know what I mean? And I don't mean in success of money and all the stuff people think they want. It's in like the make me better, like make me grow. And I think we've done that with each other like so much, like I could cry.
Yeah, it's true.
If someone shadowed our session, what do you think they would get from it? And earlier you mentioned the raw milk, raw unfiltered milk.
Oh yeah, I say training with Claire's like raw unfiltered milk, right? Like everybody's like, ew, don't drink that. Like it's bad for you, has freaking diseases, it can kill you. But in reality, it's so good for you. It has so many essential, I'm sure, vitamins and different things, and that's Claire. It's like, oh, Claire is scary. Like she's not good for you, but she is. You just gotta drink it and hope you don't get a disease. But you know,
we know what you mean. I think that's the best thing anyone's ever called me thus far in my life.
You're welcome.
I recently started drinking raw unfiltered milk, and it has been delicious.
You good?
Oh, I'm good. I think I'm better than ever. How did I feel at wrestling yesterday?
Yeah, you felt great. Yeah.
Did I feel strong?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it was the milk. Okay. Do you think having a coach who believes in you more than just your performance changes the game?
Yes, 100%. You know, I feel like all the coaches in my corner believe in me as a person, not just an athlete, because it's so easy for, especially in this game and in the UFC, a lot of people have coaches that are just there for the paycheck and are just there to get you to be a world champion and not to make you a better person. And they don't actually like care about how you're doing, right? They just care about how you're performing. And it makes me perform better knowing that all my coaches care about me. They have confidence in me, and they're going to be there even when I fail. Because in the past, growing up playing softball, I had some coaches that if I fail once, I'm on the bench. Or if I fail, I'm trash. You know, it's like, or at least they made me feel that way. But being in this sport now and having people around me that truly care about me and truly believe in me, I'm not scared to fail, because I know if I fail, they're still going to be there. Still going to be there pushing me. Still, you know, they know that I can pick myself back up even when I don't feel like I can. So yeah, it makes a world of difference, and I advise anyone to find people that really care about you and have them in your corner, because it just gives you confidence to accomplish anything.
The funniest part is like coaches like us, like me, Walt, Aaron, we don't care if you lose. In fact, we care. We get more upset when you win, and like not you, but in general, when someone wins and they slack off and like they become like this previous version of themselves. You never let that happen. You win and you're like, I'm right back to it. I know where I was, and I want to capitalize on where I am, build on the momentum, and like that's what we care about, is like that you're growing. But if those guys come in, girls come in, and they just dip off after a win, like that's the stuff that makes us.
Yeah.
It's when you win and you keep striving for more, and that's what I think draws us to people like you and with the work ethic like yourself. Is you're just a person that cares a lot, and we want to hang out with people that care.
That's what sports have always been about. You know, even when I was younger, I didn't see it, but now that I see it, I can even look back. Sports has always been about making you a better person, molding you into something to accomplish something else. And that's anybody, even kids that are playing sports now, they don't know it, but it's making them to everything I went through playing softball. You know, being a mental basket case made me realize that I don't want to be like that now. So it's just little things that you don't realize is happening behind the scenes.
Right.
Your whole entire life that's setting you up for who you are now. And just like right now, all the things that are happening behind the scenes now, is gonna be me, like make me better in 5 years.
Right.
So yeah.
And it sounds so cheesy too. It's like making people into better people. Like that's Tim's tagline for Gladiators. And I remember back in the day, I'd be like, "What the? All right, whatever."
Right.
And now, now
It's
I'm
true.
different. And so, I wouldn't be here without them and all the effort they put in. And just accept that it's cheesy, you guys, and then go after it because it's real. The pressure turns you into something different. I say this all the time though. I love pressure because it either makes you rise or it makes you fall to who you are. And a lot of people don't like that. But if it makes me fall to where I am, I get to figure out what I was missing. And so I feel like we share that, very heavily. We are always pushing to figure out what's wrong. We go and train with people. We try to travel and visit other gyms, whether it's a strength and conditioning gym, or whether it's you want to train with Rose. It doesn't matter. You're always looking for a reason to get better. And I think that's the most commendable thing, and people should be trying to do. Like, go to that place that scares you so it can expose everything you're not doing. But what do you want people to know about the work that no one sees? You said earlier, no one thinks about behind the gloves, in the background. You talked a good bit about it, but like, how does that feel? Like, to do the work, no one knows it. There's no one applauding you.
I feel like that's the most rewarding work is, and the most rewarding progress is the work that nobody sees, and that's the hardest stuff. The hardest moments are when nobody's watching, right? It's like, do I have to show up? Nobody would know if I do or don't. But it's like, if you really are chasing greatness and you really are chasing success for the right reasons, you're gonna show up when nobody's watching. It's just how it is. It's like, people don't need to see it, but you need to do it in order to be who you want to be.
I'm pretty sure a great scientist, world class, David Goggins, said that every time you do hard things, your brain grows just a little bit. He is world class scientist. It's definitely scientifically proven. But what are you the most proud of, not as a fighter, but as a human being walking out of that cage and like becoming this transformed version of yourself every time?
I'm the most proud of the fact that, yes, I have teammates, but kind of like you said earlier, like, I did that. I'm the one who's in my own head. Like, I have people giving me advice and helping me, and that's one of the best things that anybody could have. But also, I'm the one who has to decide. Like, you can tell me all these things, but until I make that switch in my brain to have confidence in myself, to do the things that I need to do, so I'm really just proud that I was able to do that, because younger me could never make, I didn't work hard when I was younger, but now I transformed myself with the help of others to be the person that I am today. And I'm going to continue to do that every day. Even the days I fall, I'm going to get back up, and I'm going to hopefully be one of the best people one day. It's not just about being the best fighter. It's about being an amazing person and friend and fiance, whatever it is. I just want to be great,
Yeah, so you mentioned your younger self and what you could tell yourself. One of the questions I had on my list, but you had answered a million times, was like how to get over the self-doubt and the questions. Most girls aren't taught, which you talked about earlier, was have conversations with the thoughts. So many times we're taught to listen to your coach, don't ask questions. Listen to your parents, don't ask questions. Listen to your teachers, don't ask questions. And so then you learn that that's the way to treat yourself too. Oh, I'm not good enough. No question. No, I'm not strong enough. No question. And then you get put all these pressures on what girls should be and how we should show up. No question. And so we never get taught to talk to ourselves and say, well, what would happen if I failed? What would change about me? Would I be any different? Would I lose any brain cells? Which in MMA you might lose some brain cells if you lose. But at the end of the day, it's like, I talked to my 14-year-old yesterday. She was having some self-doubt going into 2 lessons. And I said, if you make the team, or if you don't, if you try your all, you give everything you got, what changes if you don't? And what changes if you do? Well, I'm on the team if I make it. If I don't, I don't make it. Does it change who you are? A hard worker, a skilled volleyball player, and a tough young girl. And she said, no. I said, okay then.